Okay, I'm glad I'm first because this talk is riveting. So, anyways, so what I'm going to I'm going to give an overview of some of the initiatives that I've been involved with for CSAP. And, first off, I redid the borehole log form and automated the borehole log process into the database. And so the form is part of that, and that's the reason for making the changes. But I also made it so that when we're entering the information, it's pre-validated or better validated than it was. The next thing is I'm going to just give a little bit of information on the CSAP legal instrument web map, a bit of an update on the submissions manager, and talk about the fillable summary of site condition that is on the CSAP web page. Okay, so the borehole log form. So submissions require a typical borehole log and then a form, an Excel form filled out. The form is available on the CSAP website in the Make a Submission CSAP members area. So I've just shown you where it is. It's pretty small, but you can see the approximate location for when you go there. So that form is downloadable off of the website, and please start using the new form. It's a lot more clear and easier to fill in, hopefully. And again, this is, sorry for the small size, but I wanted to be able to show you what is on the form. There's, as I said, improved validation, improved clarity of what to put where and what format and what unit. And then, as I said, improved automation of import into the Ministry of Environment database. The form has, the top part is basically an example of what the data will go into. There's 3 tabs along the bottom. First one's general instructions, so you can take a look at those before you fill it out. And then the rest of it on this page, at least, all goes along there. There's drop downs for the date, again, part of the validation. And at the end of the line there on the far right, it automatically produces well, not a suggestion. We're asking you to name your borehole log file, so the PDF that you're providing, if you could name it the name that it's automatically pops in there as you fill in the form. So just something to think about. So there's, as I said, there's a tab for borehole information. There's another tab for the lithology. Okay, so the first one, the borehole information, just general information about the name, the borehole name, the location, and the municipality, and the Latin long, and all that. The borehole lithology, there's details of the lithologic units encountered in the borehole, the screen intervals, the hydraulic conductivity that you measure, and the depth of groundwater that is measured. And this one is a little bit more, a little bit harder to fill in. I've made it so that the unit number is automatically generated and the top of the unit is automatically generated. So all you need to do is put in the depth, the bottom depth of the first unit, give your description, and then the thing that they want us to do is put the screen interval on the same line that of the unit. Okay, so that's the one aspect of that I'll just note. Okay, and so then that information is put into their database and it's uploaded to the IMAP BC Geographic Information website. So when you go to that, you open up IMAP and you go to the Data Sources tab and then Add Provincial Layers. That opens up a dialog box and you scroll down to the bottom and the information is found under Waste. And so, yeah, who knows why, but that's where it is. So, yeah, that's why I'm pointing it out. So So all the information is on there. That pops up. You can see in the graphic there. There's all the different wells. I think I'm colorblind, but I think they're color coded to how many units are present in the well. But when you click on identify and then click on one of the wells, it pops up the units. I'm working on suggestions for how to make these more relevant, because they all show the exact same thing and you have to click through them to find out which one is which, and they're not always in numerical order, so you have to click everything, so unfortunately, but we're working on that. So we're working also on bringing this information into the CSAP Legal Instruments website. It's a bit of a work in progress at the time, because a couple changes need to be made to the back end of this in order to accommodate that, but it's definitely possible, and we're working on that. Again, just a reminder for people, the CSAP Legal Instruments website is accessible through the CSAP Submissions Manager, and I'm just showing you where that is there. Just a refresher for anybody. Okay, so some words about the CSAP Submissions Manager, affectionately known as the Submissions Mangler. People have used this in the past. Some of the newer members may not even know what I'm talking about, but what we have is a web application that allows you to fill in all the details in order to create the documents for a submission. Predominantly the summary of site conditions, but it also creates the cover letter and your instrument as well. So it's actually a really good tool when it works. So what I've been working with the developers to improve, because the main issue in the past has been the section 4.5, adding substances to the table 4.5 in the summary of site condition. It's been challenging, to say the least, and most people have just given up their hands and said, okay, I'll just do it on Word. So what we've done is, in that when you get to that section 4.5, you can create custom substance lists. So if you have a particular lab or something that gives you, a list of VOCs, let's say, and maybe that changes depending on the lab that you're using, but you constantly, you're always submitting VOCs or petroleum hydrocarbons, you can create lists of those so that when you go back to do your next one, those are just click and they're all entered for you. You can change that afterwards, but you can create these custom lists so that you're not having to choose every time you're going to make a submission. You kind of have to do a bit more work the first time to create these lists. Once they're done, it will be very easy. So the idea is to create these lists and create an alias. So currently what we're doing is we're saying, okay, VOCs, and then we've got a legend underneath that says which VOCs that we've investigated for. So you'll be able to name this list. You'll have a name for it that hopefully you'll understand what it means, but you'll be able to name it VOCs, and it will go into the submission, go into the summary of site condition under VOCs, and then you'll have a listing of that afterwards. We're also updating the templates for that, and so that will be soon as well. So when you're adding these substances, you get to this dialog box, and there's several different ways to do that. So there's the custom lists, which are the second box down there, and then there's add individual substances. So that's basically the everything that wasn't already in there previously. So it's kind of, what Schedule 10 used to be, but it's got everything in there. And then you can also add custom substances. So you can put whatever you want as well in there. So there's quite a bit of flexibility built into the system, but the main thing is the custom lists. So on that, you can see I've pointed out there on that selected substances, when you add things from your custom lists, it will add them underneath there. And you can, remove that or whatever, but it will show you that you're adding those. Other substances, if you're adding individual substances, they'll show up in the dialog box, but then when you add the substances to the submission, those all go into that table 4.5. You can manage those lists, so you can call them whatever you want. You can have, BTEX for soil, BTEX for water, BTEX for vapor, 3.1 petroleum hydrocarbons, however you want to name them and manage them. So you can edit them at any time as well. Again, you can add the list, so you're just taking the different medium. We still have them organized by class, I think it's simpler. And then, so you just add the substances to make your list, and you can add them from multiple classes if you wish, okay? And again, the alias, we're working on that. Again, you can edit your lists at any time, and you can see that they can be quite a long list of substances that will be automatically or inserted into your submission with relative ease once you've got it set up. When they're added to the submission manager, it basically goes in like this. The individual substances are listed, and the media that they're analyzed for shows up. So don't freak out when you see this, because it doesn't look like that in the final product. I'd like to have that changed, but apparently we can't do that. The final product will look like this. So this is the Word output. So what you get on your summary of site condition is, right now, it's the name of that list, of that custom list, and that will be the default. If you don't have an alias, the name of the list will go in there. So you can see that the name of the list goes into the summary of site conditions, and then down below, they've got substance lists, and so the list name is this, and it shows you what substances are included in that list. So you can see that your final summary of site condition is going to look like the one that you currently do today, as much as possible. So I think this improves the use of the submission manager quite a bit, and I urge people to take a look at it. Okay, so the last thing here is the fillable summary of site conditions that I've been working with Janet on. We took the summary of site condition, the Word version of the summary of site condition, and we locked down the sections that we're not supposed to change because people can't help themselves. And so anyways, this form is available, and it has all the, like the Protocol 21 flowchart for the hydrogeology section is already there. So the document is there, it's ready to use, you can edit it. When you open it up, this is where you find it on the website, and it's conveniently right beside the annotated summary of site conditions so that people can open that up separately beside it and follow the annotation. One thing that I'd like to do with the submissions manager is get the annotated or the annotations put into the summary, into the submissions manager, so that we can do it all in one spot and not have to have this two things open. But for now, our fillable form is there, the annotated summary is there, and it should be easy for you guys to find and fill in these things. So this is what the form looks like. So it's going to restrict the data entry to just what we're allowed to change. What we did was we updated some portions of this And the ministry has approved us doing this. So we changed it in places where it made the most sense. And that one of those is changing to give the two flavors of residential land use now. Didn't include wildlands, sorry for you people that work out in those areas, but that is, again, will have to be handled by checking off other, much as we still have to do that for the vapor attenuation factors. So you can see how the different things are highlighted. Those are the areas where you can actually input stuff. So if you're looking for those little brackets, it's an indicator that that's what you can actually modify. And as I said, stuff like the hydrogeology section includes, I've only shown a bit of it, but it includes that whole P21 water use evaluation so that it's all there ready for you to go through and fill out. And other areas, 6.1 had a lot of updates for the different land uses as well, so we included that as well. And any questions on what I've been talking about? Guy?
Oh, will some of this be covered in Bob's upcoming webinar?
Just maybe. Yeah. So, yeah. Anything else?
With the aliases that you make, is that an alias that then goes into sort of, is that your alias or is that available for everybody to use?
Currently, it's for you.
Okay.
It's for individual
so I don't have to
members.
worry about naming it something that other people might understand as long as I know what it is.
As long as you know what it is. But the idea is that that's where we could do, say, just plain VOCs, but the table would tell us it's VOCs for soil or whatever, okay? Just trying to have a bit more flexibility so that it all works. But the custom list so far, it's like one click and all these things are put in there. It's pretty handy, actually. So, and hopefully reasonably easy for people to figure out. That's the problem when you're having all these options, then it becomes, bloatware type thing. But anything else? All right, well.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks.